These lessons vary in topics such as making friends, big problem versus small problem, the importance of following directions, identifying emotions in ourselves and others, and what to do about our emotions. While this is a rather busy field, I feel that this is one of the most rewarding fields. Here we get to celebrate the small moments, which might be making it through a lesson without calling out, and the big moments of making it a whole marking period without an office referral. My favorite part of my job is talking a kiddo in the hallway and them being so excited to share their successes with me, and knowing that I played a part in helping them find their best path to success.
Does anybody have any questions?
I do. When you said you already met with or worked with 2 less than you did the whole year last year, is that because you have 1 less grade or is that because you work with?
We're actually the same number of behavior specialists we've had as long as I've been here. And there was actually 2 fewer behavior assessments. So the functional behavior assessment is a tool, it's a test, essentially, that determines if a student needs behavior support. And so we would do that whenever a teacher or administrator in a building has consistent problems with a student. They'll bring us in to assess, does the student need more support than just being in a regular classroom or just having regular check-ins maybe with an admin. And so we only do those when it's necessary because it's a lengthy process and it produces a behavior plan at the end. And we don't want students to have behavior plans unless they need to be on a behavior plan. And so this year I've done 12 of those assessments so far, and I was just highlighting that last year I did 14 total. So we're only halfway through the year, and we've determined as like buildings that these students need that extra attention, and we're already at that level, and we're only halfway through our school year.
Anybody else have any questions? I know you can. Lots of them. I hear about all the time.
Yes, yes I do.
I appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks, Carolyn.
Thank you.
Okay, this time, public comment. Ms. Johnson, I'm going to grant you, this is the second time that this has happened after this. You had one before that was less than 5 minutes sign. I will grant you this time, and this will be the last time. If you would like to speak, you may speak.
I appreciate that, just like Allie got the same courtesy. Thank you. It's not like, and it was the first time, but okay.
No, second, but it's okay.
First, but okay. Thank you.
Okay, you not to speak? Thank you. We offered her, she had not signed, we offered her the ability to speak if she wanted to. Okay, we're on to the auditor's report.
My name is Derek Schrader. I was on Topsky Asherrod tonight. I'm also bringing Kayla Key, who was the in charge on this job. First and foremost, I'd like to say thank you to Littlestown Area School District and the business office for all of their help in completing the audit. They were extremely professional and have always been a great help with as far as getting us any sort of documents we needed or any questions answered. So big thank you and shout out to them for all the stuff that they do behind the scenes that really help us get the audit completed. As far as the audit report itself, I'm going to give some quick, very high-level comments about what the audit report was and what we did, and then Kayla is going to go and do a little bit more of an in-depth look at your financial statements. So as far as the audit report itself, there are 2 reports. Both have been filed appropriately with the places that they needed to be filed with the state and also the Federal Audit Clearinghouse. Both of those things were done timely. The financial statement audit in and of itself was the school district was given a clean opinion. It's an unqualified opinion. It's the highest level of assurance that we as auditors can give. There were no issues with any of the numbers. We didn't have any material misstatements or any findings as far as the financial statements go. And then also the second report was your single audit report, which has to do with your federal funds. And those federal funds are audited based on several compliance requirements. to make sure that the funds that are being received by the federal government are being spent appropriately. This year we audited the American Rescue Plan ESSER funds, which I think has been audited also in the past. Also, you know, with those opinions and those funds, we had no findings as well. So in those two reports, we didn't have any issues, didn't have any findings. Everything looked appropriate and well put together. And with that, I'll let Kayla speak on the financial statements and the single audit a little bit more.
Hi, so I just wanted to give you kind of a brief overview of what our financial statements look like. As Derek mentioned, our opinion was clean, and you can see that on page 1 of the report. If you're looking at a PDF, it's page 3. And you'll just see basically that there's nothing in there that you need to worry about. And then if you continue on to pages 4 to 13, you'll see the management discussion and analysis. So this is the section that Tom would have helped fill out and would have explained why there's differences between year-to-year activity. So this will give you a better understanding of what's going on in the financial statements between the years. Next, we have the government-wide statements. These start on page 14. In this, you'll see the activity at a full accrual basis. So you'll have a net position, and you'll see at the bottom of the page that the net position for the governmental activities was about 20 million, which is an increase in net position from the prior year by about 4 million, which is similar to the increase that you had last year. So your deficit is decreasing, which is really good. Some of the factors that contribute to the deficit, though, would be your pension and OPEB, which is based off of different activity throughout the years that you can't control. And then you also have your debt liabilities, since you've been taking on new debt, that's going to increase your deficit as well until you pay down the debt. But also in good news, your cash increased by about 17 million. So, but that also is partly due to the new debt that has not been spent yet. If you continue on to page 15, you will see the change in net position. Again, towards the bottom of the page was about that 4 million that I was mentioned before. Because that's so similar to last year, there wasn't like a big increase or decrease in certain expenditures. That's going to be why there was a variance. It's just how everything fell out with. You had enough grants to help cover certain things that you were able to have a positive increase. If you continue going down into page 16, you will see the government-wide statements. The government-wide fund level statements. These are on a modified accrual basis. So some of the activity that you saw on the full accrual, like the OPEB and pension that I said helped affect your deficit, you're not going to see on this side. And you're not going to see the liabilities for debt either. So looking at the total governmental fund balance, you have about 36 million. This is an increase by about 13 million from the year before. A large part of the increase was due to the issuance of the new debt, and since a lot of it hasn't been spent yet, you'll see that in the capital projects fund. The total general fund balance is about 11.8 million, which is about $500,000 increase from the prior year. Again, this could just be from normal activity. There was no major changes between the years besides the fact that your cash increased significantly in all of your accounts. That could have been due to cashing in on investments that you had in the prior year. And like I mentioned before, the total capital projects increased by about 18 million, which most of that increase is due to that new GOV bond that's being held in cash. And then if you continue down to page 18, you'll see the net change in fund balance was about that 13.9 million. You'll see in between on page 17, that's what's going to help take you from your fund level to your government wide from the modified accrual to the full accrual. And then you'll also see help for on page 19 to take you what we did to bring you to the full accrual. Continuing on, you have your proprietary fund, which would be your food service funds. There were no major changes in there compared to prior years. And then following that, you'll have the notes and required schedules. There have been no significant changes from the prior years in those either. And as Jared mentioned, we have the single audit, which we have a separate report for. And there were unmodified opinions for both gas and uniform guidance, so you'll have the 2 opinions at the top of the report, and those will both be that, clean opinions. And then we tested ARP ESSER, which again had no findings, so you'll be able to see that in the report as well. Are there any questions?
Come on, clear as mud. Any questions for them? Tom, you got questions that you would like to say so that it's going to clarify something, maybe water a little? No?
Well, if you have follow-up questions, you can reach out to me. But if you have something specific to the auditor, you can also reach out and I can relay it.
And these are available to the public where?
There'll be one in the lobby.
Anybody wants some light reading, they'll always be in the lobby. That's what it's out there for you.
They're also located on our website.
All both of them?
Yes, all financials are on the website.
I appreciate it.
Carl, if you don't mind me saying, how do you find them on the website?
They're under our financial section. Yeah, and it's under financial documents. That has all the financial documents, has all the budgets, all the AFRs, all the audits, and all the communications.
No, if you go on the website, you go under menu, you're scrolling down.
I'll send you.
Well, the reason I'm asking is because there's people in the audience I know that want to read this at home. It's kind of, as I was told the other day, our website is good, but the search isn't good. So finding it for people, they're asking me, how do we find these documents? And I'm like,
Essentially you'll go to the menu, you'll click on any department, business department, and then you should have a few tabs up there, finance and operations.
And then it's financial documents. And then that has the menu like you want to the board. And I think you have to pass 10 or 12 years until you get one for the
yeah, if you wouldn't mind sending me that process. Because people call and ask me, and I'm like, don't ask me that. Because I put it in search and nothing comes up, and I'm like, okay. You get my point. Thanks.
Did you wish the auditor to remind you?
Good job.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys, for showing.
Carl, could you clarify? I thought you said I could speak in public comment.
I did, and you gone.
I didn't decline. I said, yes, I'd like to speak, thank you.
And didn't move.
And you went right into audit. Yeah.
Go ahead. Would you like to speak?
Sorry, I was just confused because I thought it said thank you, yes, but, okay, I appreciate it. Okay, so, thank you. My name is Suzanne Johnson, and I'm a district parent, resident, taxpayer, and voter. First, I would like to express my gratitude to the Adams County Commissioners for voting last week to allocate the county's remaining $500,000 from the American Rescue Plan to their funds to the ACTI building project. This is a critical need for our students and workforce demands in our county. Now I'll turn to the proposed 2025-2026 calendar included in the agenda for next week's meeting. I don't have a strong opinion about taking away a school closing in March to accommodate the request for school closing the Monday after Thanksgiving. Some students and staff might prefer, some time off in the spring versus more time in November and December, but I'm sure there's split opinions about that. However, I do want to speak up for our educators and students when it comes to the proposal to move the start of the school year one day earlier for the students, resulting in decreasing the educator preparation days from 3 to 2. I don't think it's best for our students to do this you need to keep the traditional first student day on Thursday, August 21st, if you're maintaining the first teacher day on Monday, August 18th. I believe teachers and staff have a lot to get done in those 3 days to prepare classrooms, lessons plans, etc., to be ready to welcome our students on their first day. While there may be split opinions among parents about a Wednesday versus Thursday start date, an arbitrary decision to change the first day shouldn't be made without an understanding of the impact this would have on the preparation that needs to be done before our students enter the building. This is definitely something where the board must consider input from our education professionals. I didn't get a response to my email about this last week, but it's certainly something the administration should address tonight so that the best decision can be made for our educators and students. I don't understand the rationale of adding a student day at the beginning of the year when you were fine with 175 and a half school days or student days when the draft was presented first last week. If this was an attempt to pad the schedule an extra day due to concern about wanting one traditional snow day versus bid, the elementary hours well exceed those required by the state without doing so. So there's an opportunity to give one or more traditional snow days to elementary students in place of bid days without adding this extra day to the calendar. The secondary hours also exceed those required by the state, but they will likely be cut to accommodate a February move of the middle school to the high school, so you may need to consider continuing bid for bad weather days just for the secondary students. Another item on next week's draft agenda is approval of policy 805, relations with law enforcement agency. This policy states that the superintendent shall update every 2 years the memorandum of understanding with each law enforcement agency. When was this last done, and why is the Littlestown Council talking about a phased reduction in security services for LASD according to their agenda for tomorrow night? What changes are they proposing? How is that even legal? It seems like a strong-arm way to force the school board into increasing school taxes to pay for a police officer after the board voted against it last year when they wanted twice as much as we're paying for an internal LASD employee. That, to me, just doesn't seem legal, nor would it seem legal for the fire department or EMS to say we're going to reduce services to your schools. Nor would I expect the police department to say randomly we're going to reduce security services for, I don't know, other things in their jurisdiction, like the grocery store or Stoner's Farm, or our polling places or places of worship. I encourage school board members and others in our community to attend the Littlestown Council meeting tomorrow to ensure that the safety of our children remains a top priority, not only for our school district, but also the Littlestown Police Department, which are both funded by taxpayers. Fortunately, there's no school board meeting tomorrow to conflict with the council meetings, but this does highlight the need to eliminate that overlap of meetings in the future, as I previously urged. Thank you.
Mr. Gilfini, you're up.
Thank you. Good evening. An exciting week, I hope. Get the slides up. There we go. Which one are we going to look at? Let's look at both of them. Construction start date 9/13. Phase 1 completion date 1/17/25. That would be this coming Monday, Friday rather. Move-in date I think was what, the 22nd.
That's right.
The contractors are, to use a common phrase in the industry, standing on each other's shoulders to get it done. The building's looking pretty good. All the ceilings went in the past couple days. All the above ceiling work is done. The above ceiling inspections are complete and have been passed. The final occupancy inspection is going to be this Friday by the middle department for the borough. Phase 2 and Phase 3 completion dates, you'll notice I have asterisks on those. That's because we all know that the first phase was late, so we would anticipate those dates changing, but the contractors haven't given us the new dates yet. So as soon as we get them, we'll update you folks on what those are going to be. 16 months expended as of 1/13, and I did not hear that the snow this past week caused the lost weather day, so we're still at 1 day. Next slide, please. Tonight we're talking mostly in Area C and 2 rooms in Area D that are going to be turned over with the initial Phase 1. Next slide. So we've got the new washer and dryer for the district in the boiler room annex, we'll call it, outside the boiler room. The mop sink panels are done to protect the walls of the mop sinks. The interior expansion joints are all done. Safety fence was moved so that we can use the new bus loop in the new parking area. They started final cleaning in the new addition last week. That's ongoing. They're final cleaning classrooms now. The concrete sidewalks are pretty much complete. Everything that's needed for occupancy is complete before the winter set in. Again, the ceiling tile installation on all 3 floors now is done. The HVAC is complete, ground and first and second floor now. It was 98% when I wrote this, and as of Thursday and Friday last week, they completed. They were in there this morning doing balancing, and that'll be probably the rest of this week. There'll be air balancing and water balancing. Plumbing completed on ground floor and first floor. Second floor, when I was up there this morning, they had all the sinks in except for a couple in the second floor science rooms. We've had some problems with the fixtures up there. Not all of them arrived on time. So the plumbers will be spending the rest of this week getting those in and tested so they can be used next week. Reception area, front entrance office areas, the pass-through window was going in today when I went through, so we're more than 90